I'd like to introduce you now to two people to talk about a really interesting project that is also a fascinating and fabulous rum. I have with me Jenny Gardner from Sip or Mix, well-known distributor of niche products here in the UK. But possibly more importantly, forgive me Jenny, is Simon Warren from the Warren family, who've developed this as a project. It's an old plantation house that has been beautifully renovated. So tell us something about the big picture of this project.
Well, we wanted, as St. Nicholas Abbey, we wanted to restore while keeping the property intact, right?
Fantastic.
So having that oldie world feel.
Mm.
So we have started up a distillery because the only way to keep something alive is to breathe some rum into it.
I like that thought.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that thought. Maybe they'll do that to me sometime.
Yeah.
So, yes, the house, and I can recommend it highly as an attraction. Beautifully preserved plantation house with fixtures and fittings appropriate to the time.
Yeah, it's the 1650s, so it's
Jacobean
mansion, right? And it's always been owned by one family for like 150 years, so it's unchanged. Because they were absentee owners, so they just sent money and upkept the plantation.
Yep, fantastic.
Yeah.
And of course there is something a little bit unique because it was built plainly for English people who travelled to Barbados, and in the upstairs bedrooms.
Yeah, they have in the upstairs bedrooms. We have a Jacobean staircase, right, which have a story about a gentleman riding a horse up it.
Oh, really?
In chase of a woman.
Oh, well, that's all right then.
Yeah, but women may do crazy things, right?
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
So they have a lot of history in the house. And upstairs we have a miniature. We have a Napoleonic bed, so we have a lot of history up there.
And some fireplaces.
Yeah, it's the only house in Barbados that has working fireplaces.
I wonder when the last time was that a fireplace was needed in Barbados. So that's the house, and it's definitely worth seeing.
Yeah.
What about the distillery? Because that itself has got some unique elements.
Yeah. Oh, and we were selling Foursquare rum initially.
Yeah,
right?
the Foursquare being another producer in Barbados.
Right? We have the only rum in Barbados that's not blended, so it's single barrel. So we want to stand out, right?
Sure.
We want to bring rum back to what it used to be. Right?
And what ages are those rums now?
They're 10 and 15 years old.
Right.
And we might have something older.
Ah, keep an eye out, guys.
But we have a white rum. Our white rum, which won Best in Show in 2012, right? And Best Tasting Rum. And so our white rum is primarily for mixing.
And this is quintessentially St. Nicholas Abbey rum.
Yeah.
From the fields surrounding the plantation.
We cut the cane by hand. We crush it in our steam engine.
Beautiful steam engine. From I think it's from about the 1850s, something like that.
Yeah.
And
Fletcher and Stewart.
Okay. It's a boy's toy. It's a real big boy's toy. And wonderful to see these shafts of cane being fed through these grinders.
And it's so old and so quiet, you know.
It is. Just a gentle throbbing.
Yeah. That's the best way to make rum. Slow and smooth.
Absolutely. So that's the crushing, and then you've got to talk to us about Annabelle.
Well, Annabelle is named after my mother, Anna Warren. Yeah. And so Annabelle is a German still, right? Bavarian breweries, right?
It is just beautiful.
Yeah.
I've met her many times, and every time I just fall in love all over again. It's a fantastic.
She's a hybrid, right?
A hybrid, indeed. Just explain that then.
So it's a pot still.
This here is a traditional pot still.
Yeah, and that's a rectifying column.
A rectifying column on the side.
Right.
It just gives you some really interesting tonality to the rums that come off of it.
It's very smooth for white rum. If you taste our white rum, it's a white rum that you can almost sip on.
Indeed. Well, I'm hoping to do that now. Is this an appropriate time to bring Jenny to the table?
Bring Jenny.
So Jenny, I know, is an expert in many spirits, and I think absinthe is a particular passion of yours, but you're lucky enough to carry this into the UK.
Absolutely, it was one of my first ever brands into the UK, and we've been sort of together ever since.
You're a lucky lady, aren't you? In fact, we're all lucky people, aren't we?
Yeah,
to be working with this. So you tell us a little bit about how you see this being used and what you get on this.
Well, it's completely unaged, which is quite an exception. And the one thing I love about St Nicholas Abbey is over the years seeing how they've progressed to actually make an historical site into a very sort of proactive rum producing sort of operation, as it were. So from field to glass, everything actually occurs on site, which is very unusual in the rum world these days. So as a completely unaged white rum, it's a bit unusual in that it's very soft on the nose. It has been rested for quite a long time, and it undergoes a long fermentation as well, which again I think is where we get a lot of the flavours.
I'm told about 6 days.
It's 5 days fermentation with 2 days resting in the fermentation tanks.
Indeed, and you get a very high initial ABV from the cane juice that's used.
Yes, and it's double distilled as well, so the wash can come out quite high, the wine, and then it's double distilled in Annabelle as well, so we can pull off quite a high ABV. But I think all these processes add to the complexity of flavours, so a lot of people in their minds, when they think of white rum, they think aggressive, straight off the still, sort of a bit unrefined.
But this is so smooth and approachable, and peaches and cream, not peaches maybe, but a beautiful creamy softness to the nose. Just a very gentle aroma of a mildly cooked sugar, a kind of candy floss, a kind of aroma.
Yeah.
It is fantastic.
Yeah,
it's
marshmallow.
Marshmallow.
Yeah.
That's a better word, I guess.
Yeah,
But
we've just finished Rumfest of 3 solid days of sniffing and sipping the rum, so
Indeed.
it's quite interesting to see people's reactions to it. Again, people have a sort of idea they don't like white rum for the reasons we've mentioned. They can be quite aggressive. Whereas this is the exception, not to the rule, but you know, this is a really good standard of what white rum should be, really, to my mind, anyway.
Well, it is so different from any other white rum that I've tasted. We have a lot of white rums these days that are aged and then decolorized and charcoal filtered, which gives some body to it. And make some interesting flavours, but this is off the still, and it gives some very interesting flavour notes as well. And you are quite right. I mean, this is a sippable white rum, isn't it?
It's smooth enough for a lady, strong enough for a man.
Oh, have you been an advertising copywriter at some time? Okay, so that's the white rum, quintessentially St Nicholas Abbey, because it's your own cane, and you've had this out for a couple of years now. But then you've been aging some as well. You've been putting some aside and keeping it under the bed.
Yeah.
And so we now have. Just talk a little bit about the bottle as well, will you, Jenny, or Simon?
Well, what's interesting is Simon started out in the business sandblasting the bottles, which is the image of the plantation house, which is actually.
So you get a plain bottle delivered into you, and you put that design on it yourselves.
Yeah. And then also what we do is every single bottle of aged rum that comes out of St Nicholas Abbey is hand engraved with the date of when it was bottled and numbered as well, so that we know consecutively how many bottles we produced during that year. And also that every bottle of aged rum is single cask, so everything is single barrel that comes out of St Nicholas Abbey is aged as well.
It is a beautiful presentation, but now let's talk about the beauty of the rum itself. I think some people might feel it's a little paler than they would expect for a 5-year product, but there's absolutely no caramel, nothing used.
In fact, we were commenting on how dark it actually got. We were expecting it to be slightly lighter, to be honest. So we're getting extraction that we weren't necessarily expecting colour-wise, but it is what it is. We won't tinker with it in any way. We allow the natural integration.
That's part of the beauty and appeal these days for people who are looking for authenticity and something boutique. And if there's a little variation between the different barrels, then that's exactly what it is.
Well, there will be.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So this, I'm expecting some of the woody and spicy notes from the age.
Exactly.
And indeed, I'm getting those. But I've still got a light fruitiness.
Yeah, there's still the remnants of this coming through. You can still see that these are very clearly related to each other, which I think is very nice.
Indeed. It's still a very soft, approachable aroma. So, here goes.
Bottoms up.
Mm.
Very smooth for a 5-year-old.
It's, for me as well, it's beautifully balanced. It has balance. Actually, for a 5-year-old, it's probably got a fuller mouthfeel to it and some depth to the flavours in there. And I am getting back to these very light marshmallowy notes that demonstrate where the products come from. It's very clearly a sugarcane product. A delightful drink, absolutely delightful.
Absolutely, thank you.
And where are people able to get this these days, Jenny?
Well, it's via wholesalers and it's in retail as well. So we work.
What sort of retailers, in case we have any consumers looking?
Portland Masons.
Fortnum Mason.
We just did tasting.
And Hedonism in Mayfair, perhaps. Jerry's, Whiskey Exchange.
Yeah.
Vintage House.
Those sort of places.
Yeah.
So especially and online retailers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So independent retail, good independent retail is who we like to work with most, and then obviously we work with some very good online vendors as well.
Excellent. And I know, Simon, that you've diversified into a few other products, and there's one sitting on the table here, the cane syrup. But as well as being able to buy it like that, you were just telling me that this is actually the root of this product.
Yeah, we take the sugarcane juice, we crush it, make juice, and then we ferment it, and we invert the sugar.
Well, we condense it first. So what this is we take the fresh juice, which will start fermenting itself within a couple of hours. So what we have to do is make that stable. So we take that very liquid sugarcane juice, gently heat it up. It's not boiled for ages, which some people might expect, because that would start forming sugar. What we actually want to do is gently dehydrate it, so we're removing the excess water, and then that condenses it down. So we have a condenser which makes it into sugar syrup, and this has about a content of about 75% pure unrefined sugar. And this is actually what we then go on and ferment and use as our rum. But we've also thought, so many bartenders love the idea of actually having this as a product to use, that it's going to be put into production on a larger scale, hopefully next year.
I think I might buy some and put it into my next Christmas cake, to be honest.
It's really nice, drizzled over ice cream, pancakes, cocktails,
of course.
You know,
You'll try to tempt me.
Cakes. It has a lot of really good uses, and it's actually, because it's natural sugar, it hasn't got the sort of, it's not as bad as refined, highly refined sugar. It's actually far more natural.
This has been a really interesting conversation for me. Jenny, thank you for walking us through the tasting. We do have a film made at the Abbey. Simon wasn't there the day we went and took it, but you can check that out on our YouTube channel. Simon, a real pleasure having you here today, and thank you very much. Long may the Warren family keep on in this product and this project, just keeping this attitude of, I know your dad talks very warmly about doing this for the preservation of culture in Barbados, and it's a legacy to the country, and long may you reign supreme with that attitude.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers, everyone.
Chin chin.